What a day for a daydream, custom made for a daydreaming boy. Hey, good to have you with us. Welcome to Tom's Cabin, where we talk about books and music from readers and listeners' perspectives. The latest and greatest on what's happening in the world of publishing, as well as independent music. I'm your host, Tom McAuliffe, author of some 34 books now, and Man About Town. And we've got a great episode here for you this week. We're going to take a look at what constitutes a good book. I'm not talking about the words on the page. I'm talking about the actual book itself, the spine, the paper, the font choices. We're going to talk all about that. Got the latest news for you as well. And Tom's top 10 books, new books that have come out, and Tom's top 10 in music. And we appreciate you being here for your weekly get together. We talk about our passion. And by the way, if you have a new book that you've discovered that you're loving, or maybe a new music group, give us a shout. bookinfo@nextstopparadise.com. And send us an email with your questions, your comments, and we appreciate your support very, very much. Hey, on the horizon, we've got two new books coming out. Just had two came out. I'm on a tear. Just had two come out over the Labor Day weekend. Atlantis and Moo, books number 3 and 4 in the Leviathan Protocol series, underwater archaeological adventure. You'll love it. So check them out on Amazon, Kindle, Barnes & Noble, Apple Books. It's an audiobook as well, ebook. Check it out. Atlantis, they're still here, and Mew. And coming up on November 10th, the anniversary of the wreck of the SS Edmund Fitzgerald in Lake Superior, Michigan, is coming out. I want to say, let's see, 75 to 85, 85 to 95 to 2. You know, it's almost 50 years. We're basically going to take nonfiction stuff that we know about the accident, about what occurred, and then we're going to extrapolate a little bit and tell some of the backstories that maybe people don't know about. And so that's going to be coming out. That's the Edmund Fitzgerald Without a Trace. It's coming up on November 10th. It's available for pre-order at Amazon Kindle, Barnes & Noble, Apple Books, all over the place. So that's one. And then the other one that we had that just came out was Red Summer, the Tulsa Race Massacre of 1921. It's about one of the darkest chapters in American history. But if you like historical fiction and racial justice type books, you might want to check that one out. Red Summer, the Tulsa Race Massacre of 1921. It was a difficult book to write, but I think you'll enjoy it. What else is happening? It's time for Author Spotlight. Author Spotlight. There's no author here, so it's going to be Author Spotlight. You're stuck with me. Well, we had our guest cancel on us at the last minute. Things happen in life. We totally understand that. Hopefully, we'll have her back on the show sometime in the near future. So I thought I'd do something a little bit different. I haven't, because I've been doing the show and been writing, I haven't had a chance to be on very many podcasts where people interview me. So I thought I'd interview myself. Or at least tell you a little bit about me, because there are probably some people that have tuned into the show and they really don't know. They just know there's this funny man on the YouTube every Saturday on BookTube with a tree growing out of his head. Yeah, my name's Tom Patrick McAuliffe, and I'm originally from the Motor City, Detroit, Michigan, and I come from a kind of a crazy, interesting family. The McAuliffe clan has a lot of famous people. I wrote a book called Mr. Mulligan, about my grandfather, Tommy McAuliffe, the world champion armless golfer, played with Arnold Palmer, Walter Hagen, Bobby Jones, shot par golf, lost both of his arms at the age of 8, and taught himself how to play par golf, and traveled the country in the early 30s or late 30s and early 40s, talking about positive thinking and overcoming handicaps, and wrote a book, one keystroke at a time, with a pencil in his mouth, a 30,000-word manuscript about the psychology of winning. It's kind of interesting. So, and I've always been a writer since I was back in high school working on the school newspaper, and then in college, and then became a magazine editor. I was a national magazine editor of a magazine called Government Video Magazine, about video being used in government and security and law enforcement. Did a brief stint as the assistant editor of Videography Magazine, and wrote as a contributing editor for a bunch of different magazines, mostly in the video production and audio production, professional audio production space. Digital Content Producer Magazine, Video Systems Magazine, had worked in television for a while at local television stations. I was an on-air radio personality for like 10 years, WHYT in Detroit, WIBM in Lansing, Jackson, WFLA in Miami, WMNZ in Ocala, Gainesville. And I did that business, that crazy business, up town to town, up and down the dial, for about almost 10 years. And we were the #1 morning show in the #11 market in the country. This is what, 1988 time frame, 89? #1 show, and I was making $28.5. So, yeah, got tired of being poor. Oh, but I'm in show business. Dude, you spin records for a living, okay? And then decided to go to Europe, took my mom to Europe to see the Holy Father, and we went over there, and I tried to get a job at Capital Radio in London, wanted to do an American Top 10 Casey Kasem type show, and couldn't get a visa. They said to me, Tom, you have to prove to us that you can do what a British citizen can't do. And I said, well, do you know any British citizens that talk the way I do? But they weren't buying it. And so I came back to the United States and had kind of a rough time getting my feet back on the ground. But thank God to some good people, I was able to do that. And then found my way out to, actually went into the cruise ship business. And I was a DJ and then assistant cruise director for Dolphin Cruise Line, which was later bought by Royal Caribbean Cruise Lines. And I really, really enjoyed that, doing the Caribbean, Eastern Run to Jamaica, and to Grand Cayman, Cozumel we used to go to. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. And that's where I met my wife Sharon, just like out of the song, The Love Boat. And came to California, stayed in California for 15 years. I've been married to Sharon now for almost 30 years of mutual punishment. She's the best thing that's ever happened to me. And got involved in Silicon Valley, wound up working for DigiDesign and Fast Electronics as their Marcom director. That again is involved in professional video and audio editing. These companies make these computer cards that go into your computer and turn them into a $250,000 video editing machine or audio studio. And did quite well, made some good money in Silicon Valley, and then made our way to Hawaii, where we lived for 10 years. I worked at the Hawaii State Legislature. That was very interesting. I worked for a think tank out there and did a lot of snorkeling and body surfing, and we really loved Hawaii, but it was just way too expensive. And you're way out in the middle of the Pacific. Everything is once in a while you'll catch a tour going on their way to the Far East or something like that. Movies are about a month or two behind, and everything just is so astronomical. That's what's the name of the act? There was an act, I'll think of it in a minute, but it basically says that a U.S. flagged ship cannot go from one port to another. It was back in the early 1900s, meant to bolster the shipping industry. So consequently, everything that goes to Hawaii can't come, it's got to go someplace else before it comes to Hawaii. If it's shipped out of Long Beach, if it's shipped out of Seattle, it has to stop somewhere else out of the United States before it can go to Hawaii. So a lot of them just run up to Victoria, British Columbia, or there's this little island about maybe 1,000 miles south of the Big Island. They go there overnight, fuel up, and then come into Hawaii. So lived there in Hawaii on Oahu, on the windward side of Oahu, driving over the Pali every day, and worked at the Hawaii State Legislature. And then just heard the call of family and friends and moved to Florida. And about 5 years ago, I really started writing in earnest. First, we found the manuscripts and the notes in a trunk in an attic from Grandpa Tommy. But then I learned how to dictate, and that really helped my production. And I've produced 34 novels in the past 5 years. They're all available on Amazon Kindle or at my website, www.authortommccauliffe.com. I'm a pretty gregarious person. I love people. I've done stand-up comedy. I've been an actor, writer, producer, community activist, democratic activist, and proud of it. I believe that our country is in trouble right now. And I'm hoping we can come together and find the middle ground. We have so much to be thankful for. And so I pray every day for the people in Washington. The problem is we can't get people like you to run. That's the problem. We elect these people. I don't mean to get on my soapbox here for a second, but you just hit a hot button. We expect these son of a bitches that we think that they're going to care about us. They don't. We send them to Washington to do what we want them to do, and they don't. They do what they want to do. We've got people on the Hill that have never had a regular job. They've never been in a supermarket. They've never filled up a car with gas. So a little difficult to believe that those people are going to have any kind of sense of reality at what the average American is going through. I keep hearing this happy horse shit about how the economy is doing really well right now and everything like that. Well, you wouldn't know it by me. And I'm also, by the way, a realtor, so I know a little bit about what I'm talking about. Things are not well, okay? And the natives are getting restless. And when they start to get their healthcare premiums bill between now and the first of the year, the shit's going to hit the fan. Excuse my French, but it is. People are going to be. I'm still waiting. They said that their new healthcare plan was 2 weeks away. That was like 2 years ago. So I'm still waiting. I feel like Ronald Reagan. I didn't leave the party left me. And I'd like to take the leader of the Democratic Party and the leader of the Republican Party, take them out into the middle of the desert and smack their two heads together. Get back to Washington, get back to work, open the government back up, and do your job. Sorry. I get a little taken, I get a little bit carried away. But that's why we are where we are, in my opinion, is that good people like you don't get involved. And they don't get involved because everybody has made a mistake. Nobody wants to hear about the time in 1967 when you did such and such and said such and such. Everybody has made mistakes, and they know as soon as they run that the press is going to bring up every bad thing you've ever said or done. We must move past that. And you know, I never used to be for term limits. Now I am. Yeah. But that's kind of, so I've always been kind of politically involved and such. I've always had an artistic bent. I've always been a verbal person. I hope you like the books I write. I hope you'll check them out. And if you don't like them, tell me. Tell me what you didn't like about it so I can make it better for the next one. Yeah? Thanks a lot for listening. I appreciate it. Tom Patrick McAuliffe. Well, time now for a little bit of news in publishing and literature. First, let's talk a little bit about some culture. I can't pronounce this guy's name. It's Laszlo Kurzaniowski. He has won the 2025 Nobel Prize in Literature. He's a Hungarian writer known for his dystopian works, and he's won the 2025 Nobel Prize in Literature. And he joins the rank of guys like Ernest Hemingway, John Steinbeck, and Toni Morrison. So congratulations to Laszlo from Hungary for his Nobel Prize in Literature for 2025. Moving forward, a new James Baldwin biography is coming out, exploring how his lovers influenced his work. A lot of people don't know that he was gay. It's called Baldwin, A Love Story, and it's a book by Nicholas Boggs, and it has a singular focus on the redemptive power of devotion. That's the new James Baldwin biography, Baldwin, A Love Story by Nicholas Boggs. That's due to come out between now and the end of the year. Last week, more recently, we talked about the finalists for the 2025 National Book Awards. Congratulations to those 25 finalists. They will be named at the November ceremony, and we will have the winners in fiction and nonfiction for the 2025 National Book Awards right here on a future episode. Got some new books coming out. We're going to talk a little bit about that later. Tom Pension's first novel in 12 years is coming out. It's called Shadow Ticket, and it's a new memoir. Oh, also there's a new memoir from Dope Sick author Beth Macy, and a coming-of-age story from former U.S. Poet Laureate Joy Harjo. The other thing I noticed too was there's a new book coming out by Mark Ronson. He has a new memoir out called Night People, and it's a love letter to late night 1990s. He produced some great music for Bruno Mars, Lady Gaga, and other pop superstars. He's a arranger, DJ, guitarist. Check it out. I'm going to order that one for Christmas. Mark Ronson's Night People. It's coming out. Let's see what else. Moving ahead, PEN America warns of a rise in books systematically removed from school libraries. We just had back on October the 11th, National Book Ban Day, the day against book bans. But PEN America is warning that there is a rise of books being systematically removed from school libraries. Their new report says that the number of books being challenged or removed from public schools across the country has risen exponentially in the past 2 years. Wonder what else happened 2 years ago that, A Clockwork Orange tops their list. So, maybe we should have a month-long banned books month. Oh, with 831 stories, romance fans get more than a steamy read. 831 stories is all in on the romance genre, and the founders are cultivating a whole world around the books they publish, complete with fan fiction and merchandise. So if you're into romance, check out 831 Stories. It's a great place for romance fans. And lastly, Elizabeth Gilbert has a new memoir out where she opens up about sex, drugs, and codependency. The Eat, Pray, Love author discusses her love affair with her best friend, which she says was life-changing, but also marked by addiction and heartbreak. Gilbert's memoir is All the Way to the River, the new book from Elizabeth Gilbert. Hey, that's the news for this week. Not much going on right now. Everybody is getting ready for the big holiday season and for the big day with Santa Claus coming to town. Thanks for listening. That's the news at Tom's Cabin. Let's take a look at the ins and outs of books. In a world of screens and scrolling, there's still some magical things about holding a real book. The weight, the texture, even the smell of the paper. It's all part of the experience. But what actually makes a good book, physically speaking? Today we're going to open the cover and take a closer look. Let's start where every story begins, the cover. No, I know, you talk about you can't judge a book by its cover, but sometimes you can. A great cover does more than look pretty on the shelf. It tells you what kind of journey you're about to take. Hardcovers often have a dust jacket, that removable sleeve printed in beautiful full color, and underneath you'll sometimes find embossed titles or textured cloth covering of the book. Paperbacks, on the other hand, skip the jacket entirely and print directly on hardcover stock. They're more affordable, they're lighter, and they're easier to travel with. Designers of covers, and there's a special art and science to it, think about things like font, color, imagery, balance. A thriller book might use sharp angles and bold reds. A romance novel might use softer hues and a serif typeface. Every detail is intentional and meant to grab your eye and your pocketbook to buy the book off the shelf. And there are a lot of choices out there today. When books sit on a shelf, it's their spine that does the talking. The spine holds the pages together and usually displays the title, author, and the publisher logo. A good spine is kind of like a handshake. It's strong, clear, and easy to recognize. Too narrow, and the title disappears. Too flashy, and it looks cheap on the shelf. Publishers put a lot of thought into getting that balance right. Next, the pages themselves. Paper choice is a huge part of the reading experience, and it's something most publishers and authors give serious consideration to. You'll find smooth white paper in textbooks and reference works. It reflects more lights and makes small print easier to read. Trade paperbacks often use a cream or ivory stock color. It's warmer, easier on the eyes, and gives that classic bookstore feel. Some high-end editions even use acid-free or archival paper that resist yellowing for decades. The texture, thickness, and color of the paper can subtly affect how long you read and how much you enjoy the experience. It's all in the binding. Most modern paperbacks are perfect bound. The pages are glued together at the spine. Quick and inexpensive, it's not built for the long term. Hardcovers are often case bound. Pages are sewn in sections and then glued into a rigid board format, and that's why they lie flatter and hold up longer. A truly fine press edition will even be hand-stitched. the old world method still used by master printers. Ever wonder why some books fall apart after a few reads, why others last for generations? There are new frontiers with ebooks and audiobooks. Of course, the word book means more than paper and ink these days. Ebooks make reading portable. You can carry a whole library in your pocket. Audiobooks open up stories to people who might not have time to sit and read, or who just love to hear the rhythm of language performed. So what should you look for when you're in a bookstore? Whether it's digital or printed, what matters most is that the story reach you, of course. But when we're talking about buying books, we want to know what constitutes quality. First, trust your hands. If a book feels good, that's a good sign. Check the cover art and title. Read the jacket copy or back description. Look at the print size, the font size, the paper tone, and even the spacing. If your eyes like what they see, your mind probably will too. And remember, every book you pick up isn't just a story waiting to be read. It's a piece of design, of craftsmanship, and of forethought and care. I would submit the book itself is part of the story. I have been working deep in the lab on some exciting videos. Let's take a look at this week's promo video. Well, the reviews are coming in, and they're pretty good. I appreciate it so much. You know, it's the lifeblood of an independent author. Please, if you can take a moment, either with my books or somebody else's, even if you didn't love the book, maybe you have some suggestions as to how to make it better, write a review. It only takes a minute. Write 3 or 4 sentences about what you liked, about what you didn't like. Reviews for an independent author are just essential. And we appreciate you so much taking the time out to read and to review. Let's see, here's just 3 reviews that have come in, and they have been on there a while, but I haven't seen them. First, Sid Martin wrote a review about Frozen, World War II tale. He says, excellent historical fiction. This is a quick read that engulfs you into another time that is World War II. experience the ups and downs and the power of the mind to overcome and to potentially become another enemy to fight. This was a great read that brought that horrendous time to life, a time we must not forget. That's Frozen, a World War II tale. Another review came in from the Great White North, a young lady by the name of Pam Ivy. And she says, such an interesting semi-fictional read. Off the Rock, Escaping Alcatraz by Tom McAuliffe is a riveting dive into one of the most famous prison breaks in history. McAuliffe's storytelling is both captivating and informative, bringing the notorious escape to life with a perfect balance of fact and intrigue. While I wasn't too familiar with the details of Alcatraz beforehand, the way the author paints the scene, capturing both the tension and the daring of the escapees, kept me hooked from start to finish. Kept me hooked from start to finish. If you enjoy history blended with suspense, this book is a must read. Thank you, Pam, from Canada. And lastly, but not least, this one came in from Mike, a guy named Mike. He read the book Thunder Road, Goodyear, God, and Gatorade. Gave it 5 stars. He says, I'll say this about Thunder Road. I had limited experience with midget racers, stock cars, etc. when I was younger. But after reading Tom McAuliffe's book, I'm pretty eager to see more. McAuliffe's novel will take you to a time of loud, fuel in the air racing with a cast of characters that drives the story to a great read. Parts of the book seemed like a personal time machine, taking me back to a time when we had a greater appreciation for this type of entertainment. This level of competition, the drivers, their crews, the cars, the storylines that accompany them, Thunder Road is one to put on the must-read soon list. Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it. Don't forget to leave a review for your favorite author. Well, I know you've been waiting with bated breath. It's time for this week's Top 10 in Books. Hey, let's not forget about audiobooks. Hey, not to be outdone, but let's take a look at some brand new books that are just hitting the market. Hey, turn it up to 11. Let's kick out the jams. It's time for Tom's Top 10 Music for this week. really want to thank you for coming by. I appreciate your support. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Tell your friends. The algorithm that YouTube uses really won't see me. They don't love me until I have 50 subscribers. So tell your friends, and if you could subscribe, we surely would appreciate it. Join us next week. We're going to have a guest. We're sorry, I won't tell you who had to cancel at the last minute this week, but we hope to have them back on the show, and we'll have another great author guest or musician guest for you next week. It's the holiday season, lots to be thankful for. We're going to talk to you a little bit about great Christmas presents for the book reader or music lover in your life, and we're going to have that for you next week, as well as some more information on what transpired at Reader Nation and Author Nation in Las Vegas back at the beginning of November. Thanks a lot for coming by. We'll see you next week. Go out, read a good book, listen to a great song, and you make it a great day.